All right. Good afternoon or morning, whatever time you happen to be watching this video. I wanted to do I'm going to do a series of videos this week to cover the content as opposed to trying to do it all in one big group. And the first video I want to do is how to properly load and unload your cameras, because for some of you this is new. So I have two cameras here, and I think that this is a pretty good representation of the types of cameras you're going to run into. I have the Pentax K1000, which is a complete manual load, and I'll do that first. And then this is a Pentax MZM. And most of you actually are going to have one of these two types of cameras checked out to you for this class. But the MZM it has a mechanical motor, and it actually helps you with loading, which sometimes helpful, sometimes not. I actually find manual loading to be much easier, much simpler. So, but let's start with the manual loading. First, one of the things you have to understand is, if you haven't figured it out yet, how to actually open the back of your camera. Most of these manual cameras, you're just actually going to pull up this knob right here. Now, there's a couple of different positions. So this, it's up, but the back of the camera hasn't opened. There's also a little spring in here, and if I pull that a little bit more, now the back of the camera has opened. This is some old color film that I have, and this is what I do with color film at this point. I don't really bother processing color film. So what I'm going to do here is I lay the film in. The little tail kind of goes at the bottom. The knob goes at the bottom. So I drop that in. I may have to pull this little thing up a little bit in order to set in there. And then you'll notice, see how that has like a little pair of forks here? That's actually going to lock in to this, so that it helps with unwinding the film. So I'm going to drop that in, and then I bring this down, make sure that it's actually connecting. Then I'm going to pull this film across. Now this is where I feel like it's a lot easier, because you can see here I'm actually going to just shove this little tail of the film into a little slot here, and I just kind of work it in. And it's kind of hard to see, but I'm actually just working my fingers back and forth, and I really have it in there. Okay, once I have it in there, I'm going to wind. Well, I need to hit the shutter here. I'm going to wind, and the film. Now it's you got to pay attention here. Now a lot of people, because obviously the film's photosensitive, so you want to be careful with it. But a lot of people will be so conservative with their film that they won't even ensure that they have the film loaded properly before they close the camera. You want to make sure that you're really certain that this is loaded properly before you close it, because if this pops off and then you shoot an entire roll of film, then you've wasted all that time. You may have no idea that you've actually done it. Then we run into people who are like, I never got to the end of my film. I don't know why. So make sure, like right that's not enough for me. I'd rather use a little bit of the film, make sure that it's loaded before I close it. Okay, so then I close the back of the camera. Now we've basically exposed the film that was in this space right here. Okay, so we need to advance the film so that we actually have a frame right here where the film is going to get exposed to light that will still be photosensitive, because this has all been destroyed. Okay, so I'm going to advance it. So I basically want to advance 1, 2 at a minimum. Well, I actually do like 3. I don't want to be conservative with it and then accidentally not get the shot that I wanted, because I'm too conservative with the film. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. Okay, so I've wasted 3 frames there. Okay, and now I feel fairly confident that the film that's right here is actually photosensitive. Okay, and you have a little counter here, and it's according to this I've wasted a little bit. Okay, now you're going to advance through that film like so, and again, this is why I'm using old color film, because I don't care that I'm wasting this. Now you can see how this is spinning. That's one of the ways that you can tell that it's loaded properly. If that's not spinning when you wind, it's not loaded properly. And I'm just going to go ahead and run through this because I want to show you what happens when you get to the end. Okay. Oop, I didn't find. Still have quite a few more to go. Sorry. It's getting close. Almost there. So you can see here, I got plenty of rolls of film. This was a 24. Okay. Now, I wanted to talk about what just happened here. Okay. So I got to the end of the roll, and I went to, wind it, and it stopped. All right. Now, you have to be careful here because there's a tendency, with folks who are new to this that maybe they think, well, maybe I got to push it harder. If you push harder, if you have to push this hard to get to advance to the next frame, you're probably at the end of the roll, or probably there's a problem with the film, the way it's loaded. If you're having to push really hard, you're going to tear the film. Okay, so once it gets to that point, don't push it. Okay, the film is, it's relatively delicate. It's a little thin plastic film. If you push it too hard, you're just going to destroy it. Okay, so I'm at the end of my roll right now. Okay, so how do I get this, unload it? Okay, now this is this is kind of, I think this is kind of a fun part. Okay, now what you're going to do is you see that this has actually on this side, there's a little lever that comes out. Okay, and you can see here it says R. So this is the rewind, and it even tells you which way to go. Okay, now another part here, don't force this. A lot of people, they'll start to try to push this, it's not going to go. All right, they don't understand why. The reason why is because usually there's also on the camera, well, I say usually, pretty much every single model I've ever seen, a release for it. Okay, so you actually have to push this release down so that this will rewind. Okay, so I'm going to push that release. Okay, and it actually stuck in, but I'll hold my finger on it just to make sure it stays. And now this unwinds nice and easily. Now you can feel it. There's a tension to it. If it's going too easily, you've probably already wound everything back, which sometimes if that happens too soon, it's because you accidentally didn't get the film loaded properly. Now I'm going to open this up and expose the film because I don't care about the film. I'm just using it for demo purposes. I want to show you what is happening on the inside here. Put it back in there. Push my button down so you can actually, again, see. Push the button in, and now it's winding back like that. And I'm also trying to keep the tail out on this. So then it gets to that, and then it gets nice and loose. When it gets nice and loose, that is when you know, hey, I'm done. All right, because there is some tension. You'll feel that the first time. Then you pop open the back of the camera. Have to pull that little spring up to release the film, and that's it. Okay, so that's how you run a roll of film through one of these manual cameras. Now let's look at the MZM. Okay, now the MZM is a little bit different. Okay, you pop it open differently. So the different backs of cameras will open differently. So like this is the one, you don't pull this up, that won't move. There's actually a little switch on the side. So it just depends camera to camera, and you're just gonna have to get comfortable with your camera. So on this one, I'm gonna pop it, open it up, and then oddly enough, because this actually has mechanical parts that will load and help you advance the film without you having to do it manually, what's going to happen here is you're not going to have anything to necessarily feed it into. You basically lay the film over these little teeth here. Let me show you that. So you can see here, there's a little mechanism right here. So, and I have to get the little knob on top of that. So I'm going to put the knob on and just set that in, make sure it's set in nicely. Then I'm going to pull the film out, and I'm going to roll it, just enough to just get it right in here. Now, this will actually, you want to get it underneath there. You don't want to go any further than that. And this will actually push down on the film and create some tension so that these teeth can grab when you turn the camera on. So that's all I've done is just laid the film right here. And I'm going to close the back of the camera and now open it or turn it on. And it loaded. I'm sure you heard the noise it made. Hopefully you did. It makes a little whine sound, and then it says 1. Okay, wait, hold on. You can't. There we go. It says 1. All right. So it's on the first frame. I can take a shot, and it loads, and it's on 2. And it just keeps going. Okay, now I'm going to actually go through and make this use all of its film here so that you'll see what happens when it unwinds itself. So I'm just actually and then it's actually winding itself back. It's unwinding on its own. So it's all motorized on this camera. This is pretty similar to other cameras with that same motorized function. And now when it's done winding, you're not making that noise anymore. Pop it open. There it is. And it's wound it completely back. So this one I would actually have to pop open, and I'll use that. I'm actually going to pop this open and use this for a demo to, how we load film onto canisters later. Now, one thing I want you to watch for, if you load that, and instead of saying 1 here, like there doesn't say anything right now because there's no film in it. Instead of saying 1 here, it says E. That is a film loading error. So that means that your film did not load properly. So pop open the back of the camera, try it again, okay, until it says 1 and it's good to go. If you have trouble loading film on your camera, you're just not sure what to do, and you need a little bit of help, just make an appointment, come see me. You can make an appointment, or you can just try to drop by and catch me. So that is the basics of loading and unloading film into these 2 different types of cameras.